Hi everyone, today we will discuss the recent circular issued by SEBI regarding the implementation of standards for the participation of retail investors in algorithmic trading. Prior to the circular, generating API keys was a straightforward process. The API key generation page contained two key fields, vendor code and API key. Both were required for clients to access the API and execute their trading strategies. In the previous login flow, users would call the quick auth URL using their available credentials as outlined in the documentation. If all details were correct, the user would receive a success response along with a SUSR token. This token is necessary to authenticate and make subsequent REST API calls. Let's look at some example API calls. Once the user successfully logs in and receives the SUSR token, they can access other API endpoints. For instance, when placing an order, the Place Order API is called with the necessary fields as specified in the documentation. A common question is, where is the SUSR token passed? The answer is in the highlighted JKey field. The received SUSR token must be included in this JKey field for the API call to be authorized. Similarly, all other API calls can be called. Now, let's discuss the changes introduced in the Exchange circular. The existing Quick Auth login will be discontinued. Instead, O-Auth-based login will be mandatory on a daily basis. Users must register their static IP addresses from which they place orders. Multiple IPs can be registered. A single IP address cannot be whitelisted for multiple users. For user IDs within the same family, certain validations may apply as per the circular. API users placing more than 10 orders per second must register their Algo ID and provide the necessary segment details during API key generation. This is the updated API key generation page, reflecting the new requirements, client ID and secret code fields. Redirect URL tab for receiving the O-Auth confirmation code. Static and backup IP entry fields. Algo ID input tab. These changes ensure compliance with the new SEBI guidelines. As per the new guidelines, the old Quick Auth login flow will be completely removed. All API clients must now transition to the O-Auth-based login mechanism. If we look at the current data available, client ID, secret code is currently not available. To obtain the code, we need to call the O-Auth authorization page. In this call, the client ID must be passed. Once authorized, O-Auth page will be opened. Once the login credentials are entered on the O-Auth page and authentication is successful, the registered redirect URL will be triggered. The authorization code will then be sent to this URL, completing the first step of the O-Auth flow. Now that we have all three elements, client ID, secret code, and the authorization code, it's time to send the access token request. This request requires two parameters, the code and the checksum. So, what is a checksum? It is a combination of the client ID, secret code, and authorization code, encrypted using the SHA-256 method. Once the checksum is generated and the access token request is sent, the server validates the details. Upon successful validation, an access token is returned in the response. This access token is then used to authenticate and call the REST API endpoints going forward. In the old API flow, the token was passed using the JKey field. This method will no longer be supported. Under the new O-Auth-based flow, the access token must be passed in the authorization header, using the bearer token format.